All right, all right. Episode 8, College Guys Talking Ball.
Yes,
Finishing out
sir.
week 4 of our podcast. Just excited
I
about
know.
another weekend in
It's
sports,
four
man.
weeks. I know. All right. Yeah. So we're back with another episode,
Yep.
where we have a huge slate coming up this weekend. World Series is getting underway tomorrow. We thought last week's college football slate was bad.
This
This
one's bad.
one's kind of bad too. Still going to get after it though. There are, however, huge NFL games as we are now into week 8. Kicks off tonight with a big one between 4-3 Ravens and the struggling Tom Brady and the Bucks. We'll get into that as well.
It's crazy. Crazy even saying like Tom Brady and struggling in the same
Mm-hmm.
sentence. But yeah,
Where we're at.
college football is not really not a bunch of huge marquee matchups this weekend, but me as a Georgia fan, I got all my gear on. I even changed my background to a bulldog for this one. That's all I
No
got.
one can see that though. Like you're kind of in front
I'm
of the bulldog.
yeah, but yeah, he's behind me. But I'll be down there in Jacksonville this weekend, so as always, that's going to be a good one. And TJ, don't forget, man, we got the World Series.
Yes,
As much
sir.
as we want to forget about it,
I'm
but
really excited. I know you guys will be gone tomorrow. I don't know if you're gonna watch it or not, but I'll definitely find some way to tune in.
yeah, for sure, for
Is that
sure.
where we should start here? I guess.
Yeah, man, let's
Yeah.
preview it. Let's preview it. I guess I'll give my takes real quick. To tell the viewers, as we always have, me and TJ are Braves and Dodgers fans, so pardon us if we're a little not as excited as maybe you want us to be, but we're gonna give you guys the lowdown because this really is a good matchup, and let's put our bias aside to give the people what they want.
Yeah.
And that being said, 3 4 weeks ago,
Bias has been aside for a few weeks now, though. You know
yeah,
what I mean? It's
unfortunately, yeah. But yeah, if we would have flashed back to 3 or 4 weeks ago, you would have thought, no way. Maybe you would have figured that the Astros would have been in as they were the favorite in the AL, but the Phillies, man, they've really come out of nowhere. I know we've had a week off since the NLCS, but they beat the Padres in 5. They dominate them at home in Philly. I think the Astros are the obvious favorites in this World Series as well. But don't be surprised if the Phillies, their guys show up and they're ready to play, kind of like the Braves last year against them.
yeah, for sure. And to all your points, Astros are probably the better team coming into this. But I mean, we need to talk about Philly's bullpen used to be such an Achilles heel for them. Now it looks like it's just been an incredible, vital piece as to why they've advanced this far.
It's wild.
Um,
It's
but
wild.
my biggest headline for this series, I guess, how does the Phillies like starting lineup hold up against the Astros? Excellent starting pitchers, and they are excellent, and they have a very deep bullpen. Um, through 7 games of the postseason, they're 7-0.
Yeah.
The Astros pitching staff has just held teams to a 1.88 ERA. That's less than 2 runs a game, and that's with Verlander
Wow.
having a clear outlier where he gave up 7 runs in that first game, and then I guess if you were to probably calculate it, it's probably their ERA is probably like 1.5
Right.
since then,
Right.
and it's just so optimal for winning in October.
And that's why they always win in the postseason. I guess to answer your question, how the Phillies starting lineup hold up against those guys, it's really about the guys, the undercover guys. The Hoskins has to show up
Yeah,
again. You got to get production out of Segura. You got to get production out of Stott. I mean, they were getting production from everybody, and that has to continue if they want to win the World Series. Can't have these guys cool off over this week for sure.
and I think like the Phillies hit enough home runs to where if they get a few big ones here, they
Right.
could potentially see themselves, game 6, game 7, flip in their rotation, and then they have a
Right.
legit shot because one thing about the Phillies is they definitely have the guys that will show up.
Absolutely.
Segura is going to show up. I mean, we were saying Hoskins, Romuto is going to show up.
They've shown you Harper.
Schwarber, yeah, Harper. These are I'm not going to say proven guys, but they are guys that have shown that they do want it, and that's crazy to say because,
It's really
like you
about
were
staying
saying,
hot, just staying
I mean,
hot.
dude, if anyone would have told me even like 2 to 3 years ago that the Phillies would be in the World Series, I'd be like, no way. They have so many pieces
Right.
that they need to address. Their bullpen, it's sucked for years, and now it's just incredible. Like,
Nails, lights out. Like
yeah,
it's crazy how sometimes these guys play better in the bigger moments. I guess let's move that to the next
yeah,
segment then. Let's get a breakout player. I think this was pretty obvious for me.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna stick with Harper. He was obviously the breakout player in the NLCS as he won the MVP. He's been great all postseason. He dominated my Braves, and he's, as you guys saw in Game 5, he's making swings to put them over the top. If the Phillies are going, that means Harper is leading them, and vice versa. They go as he goes. And I do personally think that the Phils are going to keep rolling. You'll see later as I pick. So I'll go with Harper to break out right here. I guess keep going, not even break out, just stay hot.
Yeah, yeah. And Bryce Harper, so they released like I guess a World Series like player power rankings. Harper
Yeah,
was first. And then it was like four straight Astros and then
really,
some of the Phillies starting pitchers.
of course.
So yeah, so both of our breakout players are on the same team. And I'm gonna head to the other side of the ball. I'll say Zach Wheeler. And even though Nola's like the ace, I guess the ace of their staff, he's pitched the best this year. I think we can both agree Zach Wheeler has the best stuff.
Yes,
And I
yes, I
see him
agree.
pitching. I see him pitching at least twice and dominating both times. And if that does happen, that would be
Well, if he
Phillies
if
would be
he
in good
if
shape.
if he pitches twice, that means they're in good shape.
Yeah, yeah.
I mean, you
I
you
think
want them
so
to
as
pitch
well.
twice.
And I
So
think I don't know. So Nola's starting game one against Verlander, and then it'll
yes,
be Wheeler against Valdez, I guess. And I
yep.
feel like they strategically did that. I feel like Wheeler would go game one, but I don't know for whatever reason.
Ah,
To
uh,
listen, I'm not. It's so like it's optimal. Like they've gotten full rest, because they
yes.
have had 4 days off, and I guess yeah, they just decided to go with Nola.
I
But
think that they went Nola game 1 against Atlanta, if I'm not
yeah,
mistaken. So
and
they've been going him game 1.
no, they went Suarez game one against Atlanta.
Oh yeah, that's because they had a
Remember they had to
pitching
yeah
problem. Yeah, because
they
they
had
were in the
to
wild card and beat us. Yes, I remember. I
yeah
remember. I guess let's pick the series. TJ, go ahead. Give it to the viewers. Who you got here?
yeah. So I'll say Astros in six, and that's a charity 6 game. Um, let's see if the Phillies make it that far.
Wow.
I think the Astros just have better overall pitchers, hitters. They're just better team. And sorry, Braves, but yeah, the Astros pitching staff is by far the
Ah.
best they've seen. We'll be seeing this playoffs, and that leads me to believe Astros.
I don't know if I can
It's
agree.
it's it's true, man.
It's not.
It
I don't
is
know. I
because
don't know.
listen. They have Verlander. He's going to win the Cy Young.
Okay. Okay.
They
That's
have
fine.
Valdez, who has a
Who's
lower.
not as Valdez is
He
not as
has
good as our pitching.
he
We
has a
have better
lower
pitching than
he
Valdez.
has a lower ERA than everyone on the Braves this year.
Okay.
Um, they have Javier. They have
Wait,
McCullers.
how can you say that when we just matched up with the Astros and whipped them?
I mean, yeah, that was last year though. They
It's
didn't have Verlander
okay.
last year.
We would still have a better staff. You just add one guy.
Okay, well, anyways, I think this is best staff that the Phillies will be
Yes,
facing.
I mean they
So,
have a good staff, but
and
no,
to and to
that's not reach. Okay, it's
and
not reach.
definitely, they just beat the Padres, who probably had the worst staff that they had
But
seen in the playoffs.
even
So
they had some guys. Everybody's got a
they
good
did have
staff
some
right now.
guys, but you're right.
And I guess
What's your prediction here?
I'll continue to disagree with TJ. I'm going Phillies in 6. It's what I want. Just for the underdog story, I guess I should be going for the Astros. And I guess I am going for the Astros, but you always want to see an underdog team win too. So I'm kind of tossed up, but I can see this really happening. Obviously, both teams that make the World Series, they're playing with tremendous momentum. I just feel like the city of Philadelphia and the way that the Phillies are playing, the way that they're winning these games, kind of unexpectedly, but now they're like, looking around, we can do this. I think that sticks for the World Series. You'll see in game 1 how they show up. I remember the Braves last year came
Yeah.
out and punched the Astros in the mouth. I think that's very important. But if the Phillies come out and punch the Astros in the mouth, which I expect them to do, I expect them to win in 6. Not saying the Astros aren't a good team. Not saying they're not the better team. Not saying they're not the favorite. Sometimes in baseball,
Yeah,
teams
it's
have destiny, and I feel like the Phillies, the team of destiny.
and yeah, I'll touch on that Philly. So I think a very overlooked, thing that can happen is so the first 2 games are going to be in Houston. If the Phillies happen to sneak one,
Yep.
the series will be tied 1-1. They'll be headed back to Philly for 3 games, and
Right.
that could be, that has proven to be devastating for some teams, having to go away for 3 games and then
Right.
try and get back home. So you just never know like where it's going to go. But
The Phillies, if I'm not
Phillies,
mistaken, they haven't lost at home yet.
well, the Phillies are just historically like really good at home in the playoffs for whatever reason. So
Yeah,
we'll see.
it should be a good series. I really do think that game 1 has a lot to do with how this series plays out, especially for the Phillies, in
Yeah,
my
I mean,
opinion.
yeah,
But I guess that's our picks. That's our that's our
that's
rundown. Let's move to college football Saturday. That's that World Series and all this is coming together. It is really the best time of the year. I
it
guess I'll
is.
I'll go ahead and preview the game I'll be at, which is Georgia, Florida. They call it the world's largest cocktail party, and for good reason. It always gets pretty rowdy down there in Jacksonville. I'm looking to get up there a little bit early. We're gonna have some food, some tailgating going on. We're gonna hang out and get into the game. But as far as the game goes, I think Georgia takes control early. I think they need to take control early. The Florida defense has been real suspect all year long. Anthony Richardson scares me as a Georgia fan and would scare any defense in America with his dynamic ability to run and pass. But if Georgia can contain him or get close to containing him as much as they can, they should pull away. I don't know about the 22-point spread. I'm not going to make a pick here as far as that goes, but I think that it may be close for a little, but the dogs will pull away in the end.
Yeah, world's largest cocktail party. That's pretty funny. And
Yeah,
yeah, I can only assume you'll be enjoying this one. And I feel like the dogs are going to get fired up with you and cover their spread.
hope
I know
so.
you don't want to say that, but I just don't think Florida has many weapons on offense, and they don't really have a defense either. Not, I mean, I definitely look for Georgia to really show their offense here. Show what they have because. I'm not saying it's like lethargic by any means,
You'd
but
like it. You'd like a dominant game for sure.
you want to dominate Florida, and they have recently, I guess, right? What did they won, like 5 of the last 6
They
or
will. Yeah,
something?
that sounds about right.
I know Florida had one in like 2020, but
Yeah,
other than that,
hits in them.
it's really been it. And I've pretty much my entire life seen, or the entire life that I've been watching college
Yeah,
football,
yeah. Past 6 or 7.
have have seen Georgia dominate. So I would go Georgia here.
Let's stick with what we expect, and then let's go dogs. Let's root them
Yeah, I
on.
mean,
But
it'll definitely be fun for you. Our roommate Jack's going, buddy's coming in from town going. It'll definitely be a fun time in
be
Jacksonville. I
fun.
know they have their like frat beach or whatever.
Yeah,
Um,
it'll be fun. Yeah, it's always electric down there. But
Being at the beach will be fun. Yeah,
it'll only be fun if we win. So let's get that one through. And I
yeah,
guess
that's true. And you don't want to look ahead, but there is a big game looming for Georgia, and definitely don't want to overlook this Florida game because
no
that's when you
trap
kind of
game.
get trapped. Yeah, and I know we've
Absolutely.
been talking about it a lot this week, just the trap game aspect of it. I mean, on paper, Georgia should have no troubles, but
Right.
sometimes you kind of catch a team right in that iffy
Trap
week that in
looking
between week, and it
ahead
can
and
be kind of devastating.
hopefully just got to keep your eyes on each game, which Georgia has done well.
Oh
And let's
yeah,
go get
no,
a
for
win,
sure.
man. So what about Ohio State, Penn
Yeah,
State, man?
so
Tell me about it.
Ohio State's heading to Happy Valley for I think its first real test, their first real test of the year.
Yeah, I agree.
The Buckeyes, as we know, have the largest margin of victory in all of college football, beating their opponents by 34.6 points on average. I mean, that's crazy. I know you're going to disagree, but I'll say that Ohio State will win easily. Just because, dude, Penn State again talked about it a few weeks ago with Michigan. Man, they don't ever, win
Yeah,
big
true.
games, and I have seen people pick some upsets here. So I'll go to you. What do you think about this game and who comes out on top?
Obviously, Ohio State has looked fantastic all year long. I always discredit who they play, but at the end of the day, they are
Yeah,
playing Big Ten opponents, and they're running on the road to go play another one. And
this is top 15 matchup.
it
So
it yes, it technically is, and the spread right now is at 15 points. I'm gonna definitely go ahead and say hammer Penn State plus 15. I really wouldn't be surprised if the Nittany Lions win this game outright. Like you said, TJ, the mantra is they can't win big games. They haven't
yeah,
won big games. But I think that crowd can keep them in it. I wish that was a night game, but of course
yeah,
it's at noon, which
I
actually
have that noted. Yeah,
may tame the crowd a little bit. But I think
I
this
don't
one
know, man. I don't know if that's necessarily going to tame the crowd.
is true. We were
Just
just talking
because, man,
about the Georgia game.
they always seem to show out those Penn State fans. And probably be a whiteout or something, and
Right, especially
they'll
against Ohio
rally.
State. And
Yeah,
I guess that's what I'm leaning on here. I will, like I said, I'll go ahead and give you the plus 15. And if I had one underdog this week, I would take the Nittany Lions. Gosh, I'm sure they're skewed. I need to go look at the numbers myself, but um, can't take away from the home field advantage of the Big Ten and the fact that Ohio State hasn't played super great competition, worries me on their side a little bit.
Yeah,
So
and this is just, it's a chance for Ohio State to show that they can still beat good teams by, a wide margin. I've got my eyes on CJ Stroud this game. This will likely be the game that I will watch at noon. I don't know if you'll
yeah,
be
we'll be
busy with the
watching. We'll be
Georgia,
watching.
but yeah, I'll definitely be tuned, sitting right where I am right now watching this. And yeah, of course, this is the biggest matchup of the week on paper by far, and of course, you
Yep,
get it at no other time than noon, a big noon
sucks.
kickoff. Yay, let's go.
Yeah,
But yeah, I'm looking for CJ Stroud to have a big game here. I don't know what they're looking on, like with their players and if they're playing or not. I
yeah,
know they have
they've
two
had some
two
injury
really good
problems.
wideouts and two really good running backs. So
Yeah, they've got Smith and Jigba and Harrison
yeah,
Jr. and obviously Stroud and
Harrison
Henderson.
Jr. is really good.
Harrison
He is
Jr.
really good.
They've got some dudes for sure. I don't know. This is I like you said, it's just going to be a fun one to watch. You almost hope Penn State keeps it close, just
It's
so
just like
you can watch
we
it a little bit longer.
yeah,
But
we've been watching Sean Clifford, play these games against
yeah,
Ohio State,
since we were in
Michigan.
10th grade,
Michigan State even has had some big games against Penn State, and they just never win.
never win. I think
But
that's a James Franklin problem. That's tough. I don't know. We'll see. That
but
should be
it's
a
like
good
they're
one.
here they are. I know there's a big drop off, like we always talk about between teams like 7 and 25, but here they
Right.
are, always in that range, and they just never have that.
They're always playing in big games. They just never
Yeah,
win those big games.
and maybe they're just helping out the teams that they play, because the teams that they play end up just beating them and end up having a good win on their
Yeah,
resume. So
true. Well, maybe. Hey, I'm picking them to win right here, so I
yeah,
think they
yeah,
win a big game. Other storylines, games we're kind of looking at for Saturday. Just like Georgia, Tennessee's got a big SEC matchup. They've got Kentucky at home. Like we talked about, trap game possibly. If Will Levis really wants to be mentioned up there with some of these draft prospects, he needs to have a big game here. And
is this
you can imagine Kentucky wants this. And if you're asking if it's in Knoxville,
yeah.
yes, yeah, it's in
Okay,
Knoxville.
so it's in Knoxville, and is it at 3:30?
I think it's at 7 o'clock.
Oh, really?
Yep,
Okay, so that's gonna help Tennessee.
it
But
should.
you just say you don't think Tennessee kind of looks past,
I think, like I
Kentucky
said,
here.
I think they could tend to. They could tend to.
It's not the same situation as Georgia, because Tennessee is playing kind of a more respectable uh, opponent. Whatever you want to say, Kentucky
Yeah,
is a little more respectable than
sure,
Florida.
sure.
So I don't know if that trap game thing will like affect them really. I'm not really
I
sure,
think
but
it would be the opposite though, because Georgia's playing their biggest rival. You don't
yeah,
lose to
that's true.
Florida.
That's true.
But we'll see. That's going to be a good one. I have written down here also Jimbo Fisher. Just what a joke. All the stories all week about his buyout, how much money Texas A&M owes him. Really, Texas A&M, the joke is on them because Jimbo's got lots and lots of guaranteed money if he does get bought out. So the Aggies maybe in a little bit of a mutiny situation right now. Texas A&M is not in a
Yeah.
good place.
Did you know that they're fifth in the West?
Yeah, that's
A&M's
crazy.
fifth in the West. That's
They could be
insane.
the worst team in the SEC.
Yeah, I
It's
mean
very
it's
real.
it's definitely I'm looking at it right here. The teams that are below them, I mean, in the conference at least, Arkansas and Auburn, both 1 and 3. They play Arkansas this week, right? Is that
No,
who they're playing?
they already did play Arkansas. They
Okay, so
played
who
them
are
in
they playing
Jerry.
this week?
I think Texas A&M's off this week. Oh no, they
Okay,
play
I
Ole
thought I
Miss.
saw. Yeah, okay, they play Ole
Ole Miss.
Miss. Yeah,
Yes, Ole Miss.
Ole Miss is coming off big upset too, so or getting upset.
Oh, hey, I mean Texas A&M, they're under hit, so I'm done with them. But Jimbo Fisher, that should be interesting this offseason for sure. TJ, what about a couple of games for you, man? What have you seen for this weekend?
Um, yeah. Spartans and the Wolverines. I have it written down here.
It's a good game.
I feel forced to talk about this. I mean, it's a rivalry, but is it really right now? Feels like Michigan always beats them. I'll say Michigan by 25 in the big house on prime time. And,
Okay.
this kind of shows that the slate is a little weak. I
The
don't, I
fact
mean,
that that's a prime. Hey, bro, they
I
had
do like,
Minnesota Penn State on ABC. The Big Ten just lets us down.
yeah,
That's
but
what it is.
Michigan's like 23-point favorites in this.
Yes, this is
It's at
not.
home. Like I don't know. I mean, feels like it should be close, but I just don't think it's going to.
It depends what Michigan State shows up, I guess.
Yeah, and then UNC and Pitt. I guess you could probably talk to this game more than I can.
Yeah.
UNC's better. I think they win. They win. That's really all I've got.
UNC is actually in this game. This is my college football lock of the year, must tail play of the year. Whether you put $10, $100, whatever you want on this. North Carolina, I got them at -3 the other day.
Yeah,
I think
that's what
Sunday or
it's.
Monday.
It's still at that.
It's at
And
3. Okay,
this is in Chapel Hill
it's in
also.
Chapel
So,
Hill. North Carolina
but
-3 is my
who
play of the
does
year.
do you know who like UNC has or?
Drake May, they have a great offense. Josh Downs. Pitt's just in a free fall. If you look at their schedule, they've lost to Tech, Georgia Tech.
Mhm.
They lost to Louisville. They're not in a good spot,
Okay,
which also people are still trying to credit Tennessee for their win over Pitt. But we'll get into more Tennessee next week when
so
when I, when I talk about Georgia,
you
Tennessee.
see UNC like you see UNC like on the rise and they're
Yeah,
catching
yeah.
Pitt at downfall and
Dude,
then
UNC is 6-1, dude.
yeah, I know they're ranked 21st so
Like I didn't like
I don't
they're
know,
sneaky really good.
where the disrespect is. I guess maybe they haven't beat anyone. Um,
I don't know what it is. I don't like I said, I can't explain the line, but I love this line and it's my play of the year. So all
yeah,
heels. I guess we have one more game. Okie
yeah,
State, Kansas State. This is huge in the Big 12. They're actually tied in the Big 12 right now. I'm picking Oklahoma State as an underdog in this game. Kansas State, I think they're a little banged up. Just came off a loss to TCU where they were up big. That never, ever bodes well for a
yeah.
program. So I'm going Oklahoma State here to get ahead uh, over them in the Big 12.
I think this game's at it's at Kansas State. I'm pretty sure.
I
Uh,
believe so. Yes.
so it doesn't matter. I think Oklahoma State is by far the better team.
Yes.
Kansas State probably loses again, and then they're unranked, and no one's talking
You
about
forget
them
about
anymore.
them. Yes,
Yeah.
absolutely.
Oklahoma State, though, it's not really a team that you're going to forget about just because the Big 12 implications. They'll probably play in a New Year's Six bowl. So,
They're still top
there's,
10.
yeah. They're ranked ninth right now, which
I mean,
I
they're
don't know
still
if
hanging
that's,
around. Like we
I
said.
don't know if that speaks to the drop off or
Well,
if
they were
Oklahoma
like
State,
what? They were like eighth, like at
yeah,
their highest.
yeah.
So as long as hey, they're sticking around. So
No, they sure are sticking around, and that's pretty good to see. I
that's
like to see,
all you can
yeah,
do.
yeah.
All you can do. I guess, man. That we did cover some good Saturday there, so it should be
Yeah.
an
Well,
entertaining.
dude, just remember last Saturday ended up being good. The Saturday before that
Like,
was awesome. Sometimes you get these down weeks. We're gonna have a huge week next week.
yep.
The week after that, probably a week
It
after
just
that.
gets
College
it
football
just
is
gets
definitely
better.
starting to ramp up, especially as we get into November.
Same with the NFL though. So
Yeah,
let's give them the
a huge
rundown.
Sunday in the
And
NFL.
it actually starts tonight.
Yeah, so we got Baltimore going to Tampa Bay. So I'll just start it off. What do Brady and the Bucks have to do against Lamar and these Ravens to get a win tonight at home?
I think that Brady and the Bucks have to run the football effectively tonight. They are
Yeah,
last in the NFL in rushing yards a game with I would say he's a great running back, Leonard Fournette. He has been a beast. He was a beast week 1 against Dallas. I do not know where that went because Dallas is great defensively.
yeah. I was
And
looking through it today, man. They
it's wild. And
nothing on the
if
ground
they if
since
they
then.
if they want to turn it around tonight and get a win, I think they really need to run the ball, which obviously opens up Brady to Evans, Brady to
Yeah,
Godwin, Brady to some of these other guys out wide. If they get to running the ball, the Bucks should win this game. But hey, the Ravens have a run game as well. What do you think, TJ?
yeah. So I've got a pretty big clip here, just about the Bucks defense. So just for the defensive side of the ball, stopping the Ravens, I think it will be a challenge. What I focus on though is the Bucks defense, but the Bucks red zone defense. It's been particularly horrible this year. Um, they're second to last in red zone touchdown percentage, giving up a touchdown at a 76.5% clip. So
Wow,
when I looked earlier, it's like 15 times have teams gone to the red zone, 12 times they've scored. So
that's pretty
that's really
wild,
not that's breaking, not bending. So
especially against Lamar and the
yeah,
Ravens.
so I mean, and then as far as like the offense goes, their O line has been struggling. They have guys out to protect Brady and open up their once what was very dominant run game.
Not anymore.
I'll list out some stats here. During their 4 losses, they only have 158 yards and 1 touchdown on the ground.
Combined.
And yeah, combined all 4
Wow.
games. And then in their 3 wins, they have 293 yards on the ground.
Which is
So
crazy because a lot of it came in one game.
yeah,
So they really aren't
yeah.
running the ball very
So
well.
like they're averaging about 40 rush yards per game in losses, and then 100 rush yards per game in wins. So I think that's a big deal. But then, like, for the skepticism about the Bucks, we don't know what's going on really with Brady. Um, and then they have two, like I said, they have two interior offensive linemen that are out, and they have
Yeah,
pretty much been out all year. And that's just it's affected the Bucks in more ways than one.
I think the
Do
drama
you?
certainly doesn't
Yeah.
help right now. But oh gosh, I mean,
But what do you have here for the Ravens? I mean, I think the
I love the
Ravens.
Ravens.
This
I
is
love the Ravens.
yeah.
Um,
I like Lamar to have a big game tonight.
I agree.
Actually, I look for them to run the ball well. Potentially stop the Bucks. A few times, and then they could be looking up to a win. And this
I
is actually it would be a pretty big win for the Ravens.
It would. It really
They're
would.
they're tied with Cincy right now, both at 4-3. And Cincy kind of has an easy game coming up that we'll talk about later. But yeah,
Every game matters, man, especially in a division like that. Um, do you have a pick in this game? Do you have a side you're leaning?
uh, I don't really, I really don't.
I
I'm looking. Do you? I'm looking for a good game, and I think it will be a good game. Um, I don't know.
Tampa.
We'll see. Tampa.
That's my pick. I got Tampa tonight. Um,
I guess I'll go against you. I'll say I'll take the Ravens.
all right. Well, Brady's not gonna lose.
Ravens
He's not gonna lose
Ravens
three
to
straight.
Ravens to cover for sure. I think. What is
Okay.
this? Three three
Two and a
point
half.
spread?
2.5.
Okay. It's a tricky one, but
Yeah.
we'll see.
Okay.
I pray the Ravens don't blow another lead. That would be
Because then
horrible.
Lamar's out of there. He's coming home to Atlanta. But what
At
about
home.
the other? Oh, it's not home. It's not home.
Yeah, where?
But how about another team that we talked about in the same conversation with the Bucks? You got the Green Bay Packers at Buffalo on Sunday night. Is
Yeah.
this where Rodgers cracks? This
Yeah,
it?
I mean, so yeah, you got four-time MVP Aaron Rodgers and the struggling Packers. They head east to face the Bills in Buffalo on Sunday night, just catching them at a nightmare time. It feels like a must-win on Green Bay side, at least for me. But the way that Buffalo's been playing, and the fact they just came off a bye, it's in Buffalo. I don't really know what chances Green Bay really
Yeah.
even has in this game.
It's when you really lay it out like that, you're like, this is a tough
It's
matchup for the Packers, especially
tough
right now.
environment. Like
Yeah, and this game to me is where I really decide if Ken Rodgers and the Packers can I continue to talk about them all year as far as being a contender. If it's a close game and they lose or they win, I like the Packers to turn around. You can give Rodgers his respect, even if they lose and they're 3-5, you'll be all right. They kind of a weak
nah,
division,
nah, nah.
but well, I
They're
mean,
no, no.
well,
I've got to disagree there.
I'm continuing. I'm keeping going. But if they do lose big, which unfortunately this is what I expect, you're looking at a team with no hope after a couple of bad
Yeah,
losses in a row. I'm done with Rodgers. He'll probably be on the sideline cursing somebody out or doing something or just looking upset. And I can't wait to watch Allen and the Bills. This is going to be a good one
yeah.
Sunday night.
Uh,
Lots of storylines.
yeah. So definitely the thing that I'm watching is going to be Allen on prime time against one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. I mean, there's really no argument there. I'm sorry, however you feel, it's just the facts. But
Rodgers, yeah.
but we'll see.
He's
I
one of the
think we'll
best.
really see like what type of ring the Josh Allen MVP has after this game.
Yep.
Yeah, but to your point about if they lose tonight or lose Sunday night, I should say. I mean, I think it's over for them. The Vikings play the Cardinals. That's a very winnable game for the Vikings. The
Yep.
Vikings win. Packers end up losing. The Vikings are going to have a 3.5 game lead. I know there's a wild card, but there's some better teams in the wild card hunt right now. Other than the Packers.
But the Packers, they just need something to improve.
Yeah,
the
but you know what?
conference.
You know what though? We shouldn't even be talking about this because they should have beat the Commanders. That's just plain and simple. Can't believe they lost against Commanders. That's just embarrassing.
That is very true. So
And I
I
mean, I
guess
totally,
we agree that Buffalo probably runs away with this.
yeah. And I mean, dude, I have the ultimate respect for, as the Packers. They always beat my team, but I mean, they've lost to the Jets. Jets have been pretty
Yeah.
good, but it's just these games that Rodgers very never loses.
He's
So
been he's been awful this year, and
yeah, so
I
that's
think that probably continues Sunday night. So,
yeah, the
um,
Bills do. The Bills defense is great. But
how about let's talk 49ers Rams. For whatever reason, I always love this matchup. I like the matchup of coaches. I like how they always talk about how, what's McVay versus Shanahan, how they're buddies. I always thought that was cool. And the fact that the Niners somehow dominate this series all the time, I still don't understand. Even going into this one, I feel like this is a series that should split, like on paper. Like
yeah,
it just feels like this series should always split, even though it doesn't usually, because the Niners have just been so dominant in the regular season. But the way the Niners are trending, as opposed to the Rams, I'm really leaning Rams here. I think the Rams need a bounce back game. I think this is a perfect time for it. They've been just repeatedly beat by the Niners in the regular season.
yeah.
I think the Rams turn around. They win this game. TJ, with your fantasy running back that you just traded for, though, do you think that Christian McCaffrey can play a role for San Francisco?
Yeah, so I think if he has a big role, he didn't really have a big role first game with them. They get
He's
blown
supposed
out. But
to
like,
this week. He's
yeah,
supposed
so
to.
if he can have a bigger role, find the end zone maybe, then this is definitely going to be a great game. And I sneaky have this being the game of the week here, just because how these teams play against each other. And I remember covering them like the first go around, and
Yep.
we were talking about how Sean McVay just can't beat the 49ers. I mean, what is he like 0-8 now?
It's
Uh,
bad. It's bad. He's never.
yeah.
I don't think he's ever beaten him in the regular season, or at least
Uh,
there's some kind of streak going on. It's 7 in the
Yeah,
regular season.
yeah. And I do remember, like you said, talking about if, this series being a split. And I think so. The Rams are coming off a bye. They definitely need to get some things going. I think the bye is going to help them a lot. And since the game's at SoFi Stadium, I would lean towards the Rams, I guess. But I'm not really a guy that is going to make predictions. I just want to see a good game. And
It should be. Gosh, it should be a really good game. It always is.
yeah, I don't doubt that it'll, not be a good game because it always is. And definitely, yeah, for my fantasy, I look for McCaffrey to have a big game. I could use it.
For sure. How about some other games? I've got
Yeah,
written here. My Falcons play the Panthers. It's not a huge game on the NFL scale, but that's my team, so I want to talk about them. So I'll just say this is a winnable.
unbelievable.
This is a winnable game here for us. The Falcons. I'm super excited that we're getting this matchup at this time. Should be a
Yeah,
win. I mean, you get to 4-4. I mean, I don't know. It's
you
just
no,
good.
it's absolutely, bro. You have a good puncher's chance for sure.
You can be
Especially
happy
if
about it.
you look up now and if the Bucks lose tonight and then Falcons win, they'll be in first. So,
Right. Absolutely.
and that,
That would be pretty crazy. I don't even know, like I can't even imagine it. But other than that, let's not get too excited. You've got some other good games: Arizona, Minnesota, Seattle, New York. Actually, both of those games have big playoff implications. You may
oh
be
yeah,
looking at these games down the line as, this game happened and now this is the effect of it. So that's going to be awesome. And then I just want to pay a quick shout out to probably my favorite NFL quarterback of all time, Matt Ryan. You were great with the Falcons. I appreciate everything you did for
that's
us.
sad.
I hate to see him
What a
go out
sad
this
day.
way, getting benched for Sam Ellinger. I'll be honest, I called my dad. I was really upset about it. So thanks,
Yeah,
Matt Ryan, for all you've done. I appreciate you.
thank
Um,
you, Matt Ryan. I was.
enjoy retirement,
I've also been.
I guess.
I've also been on the end of winning with Matt Ryan playing a few times. Cowboys beating the Falcons. So that was also
It's happened the other
it's
way.
it's happened the other
It's
way,
about
but
even.
I
It's
mean
about even.
a good homage to Matt Ryan. He was a great quarterback. I will admit it. Who knows if he's done or not? I guess we'll see at the end
I
of the
kind of
year.
hope he is done. Not no hate on Matt Ryan.
Yeah,
Yeah, I think he needs to hang it up. Like, just you've had a
yeah,
great career.
yeah,
Don't let this. I don't want him to be continually like bashed. So,
yeah.
um,
I agree, and he
well,
won't now. I guess so.
we can see him in a positive light. At
Yeah,
least
and
I will.
I was totally gonna pick the Seahawks and New York game if you
Yeah,
didn't snag it because I think that's a very sleeper, great game, huge
absolutely.
playoff implications. I mean, if Seattle wins, they're still in first. New York's looking to become 7-1. It's a huge game.
Yeah,
But I guess I'll go ahead and get into my little whip around. So as we got news today, Jamar Chase is now ruled out for 4 to 6 weeks.
it's
And I've got my
big.
on Cincy, they're playing Halloween night. They play the Browns, who aren't very good. So I would still say a Bengal win is going to happen here. But I definitely want to see like how Burrow gets, his other guys involved, because we've seen him go to Tyler Boyd and T. Higgins, but Jamar Chase is always the guy. Like he's
He's
always
been
the
going
number
to
one,
Jamar. He's been going to Jamar for 4 or
and
5 years now.
yeah, he loves Jamar, so that definitely could put like a taint, and I guess
Yes,
taint
absolutely.
in it. But yeah, so I guess I'll talk about Dallas for a second.
Yeah, and have your moment, man.
Yeah, so
You deserve it more than me, for sure.
I'm looking for Dak to play a little better here than he played against the Lions. And so I know Zeke's a little banged up. So I think they'll use Pollard as a featured back, and I'm really excited for that. Excited to see him get, a full load of touches. He's going to be in the pass game, utilized a lot. And so I'll go ahead and say this, and you should soak this in because this is serious.
Okay, I'm
I
listening.
know I'm usually
I'm hearing you out.
I'm usually a high riding Cowboys fan. They're gonna do this, they're gonna do that. And last year they had a great year, but despite anything I've said, I would not have anticipated the Cowboys to make
They're
much
having
noise last year,
this is a great yeah.
just because their secondary was very vulnerable, a lot of penalties. Seems like they're committing less of those. Yeah, so I'll just go and say it. I think that Dallas should be a Final Four. Bearing
Wow.
bearing any major injuries, they should be one of the Final Four teams left in this NFL season.
So they
If
so they,
not,
whoa.
yeah, I'm saying
So
they'll be
the
in the
Cowboys are
championship
going to the
series.
NFC Championship.
Yes, and
That is
that
you're stamping that. You're
I'm
stamping that.
stamping it. You can stamp it right here. I saw it this morning. There's no reason that they should not be in that game.
Okay. I could get behind that. It's not crazy to
Is it
say.
gonna happen, dude? I don't know, but I'm gonna stand by it just
Okay.
because they're my team, man, and they gotta win. And I was even talking to my dad this weekend. It feels like a lot of times in sports, right? With a lot of these, teams, organizations that have been struggling for a while, can't win in the playoffs. We're seeing it right now with the Phillies. I feel like something has got to give eventually,
Yes,
and I
dude,
just think,
you live with me, bro. I'm a
and I
Georgia
agree. I
fan.
think,
Like
and I think that this is the year that something possibly gives.
I think
I'm not
it. I
saying they're
think
gonna win the Super Bowl or
I
be
can.
there, but I think
You're
they'll
good.
be a
Yeah,
Final Four team.
I can agree with that. I really can. And I don't know if I
And
really want to or don't want to, but like I think that the headlines for the past couple of years just where the Cowboys, and for whatever reason, it's just you're not really getting this negative vibe around this Cowboys team.
yeah, and I'm not really. I'm just the way I see it in the teams they've already beaten. I'm seeing that Brady is struggling and Green Bay is
Rogers,
struggling.
yeah,
We already beat the Rams. I see these divisional, opponents that are ahead of us, but I know we can beat them. And I
dude,
think if everything comes together at the right time, they could make a little run.
it could
But
be a thing where the NFC East is dominating the entire playoff picture. So, like,
yeah, and that I would not enjoy seeing that because God forbid if they get knocked off by one of those teams, it's going to
yeah.
be very upsetting. But I'm stamping it here. Dallas will be one of the final four remaining teams in the NFL.
All right, let's
And
go.
that's it for the NFL.
All right, yeah, perfect, perfect ending to the NFL for this week. Let's go over a couple of props, maybe a little NBA before we finish up. A little review tonight in the Buccaneers game. I have Chris Godwin to score the first touchdown. That's one of my favorite bets. I've actually been doing a lot of first point score bets in
Yeah.
basketball too. That's fun. You don't have to risk very much.
Electric.
You don't have to risk very much. It's quick. And my prop lock until Tuesday, I guess, Luka tonight over 31.5 points against Brooklyn. He's averaging over that. He's hit over that every game. The Nets are soft. The dude's a bucket, and the Lakers suck. Let's see if they improve by Tuesday.
Yeah, so what I have here, I don't have a prop to pop. I'm sorry, didn't do any research.
That's fine.
For a guy, but I'll touch on the NBA for a second. Giannis, I mean, we need to talk about this. He's best player in the world. I mean, this guy is just such a freak. He goes and scores
Beast.
43 last night on ESPN to beat KD and the Nets, 110-99. 43 of the 110 points that the Bucks score due to Giannis. Sixers, they're 1-4. They look horrible. Do they even want to score? Who knows?
Maybe tanking. You never really know.
So I know Harden's been playing pretty well, but the company has not, and they're 1-4. So
yeah,
that's what I look at for the NBA.